The night always has its own way of hiding things. There are stories that only dare to emerge when the light is almost out, when the world feels so quiet that the sound of one's own heartbeat can be heard so clearly in one's ears. That night, a student named Andy never knew that his small steps toward the campus's old elevator would lead him on a journey he never imagined. A journey to a floor that never even existed.
The library clock read 11:47 p.m. Andy had just closed his laptop. All the other students had gone home, leaving only him and the sleepy librarian. The campus hallway was quiet. The sound of his footsteps echoed, bouncing off the old walls. The paint on the walls was peeling, and the damp, dusty scent made him want to leave quickly. At the end of the hallway stood an old elevator. The paint was dull, the iron doors rusted, but strangely, it always worked. Students often took the stairs, saying they were faster, but Andy was too tired to walk down 6 floors. He pressed the button. A heavy mechanical sound came from inside, like a decades-old machine being forced to work. The door slid open slowly, as if waiting for his arrival. Andy entered. The lights inside the elevator were dim yellow. There was a large, slightly opaque mirror on the back wall. The buttons on the panel were lined up, numbered 1 through 10. He pressed 1, heading to the ground floor. The door closed. The elevator vibrated, then moved. But something felt off. The number 1 button he had pressed blinked briefly, then went out. It was replaced by a button he had never seen before. It was plain black, with no numbers or letters, and without his being able to stop it, the elevator descended by itself. The elevator continued to descend. Not once, not twice, but the minutes seemed to drag on. Andy began to feel uneasy. As I recall, this building only has 10 floors, he muttered. Suddenly, the elevator came to a screeching halt. The lights went out for a moment, leaving pitch-black darkness. Andy's heart pounded until finally the lights came back on and the door slowly opened. When he turned around, the elevator doors were gone. All that remained was a long, endless hallway. The hallway was silent. Only the sound of his own footsteps could be heard. Every few meters, there were old wooden doors on either side. He tried opening one. It creaked, leading to an empty room, filled with broken chairs and dusty desks. It looked like a long abandoned classroom. He opened another door. The room was empty, except for the chandelier swinging gently despite the lack of wind. The next door was empty again. Andy began to panic. He tried to turn back around, but all he saw was the same long hallway, no sign of the elevator doors. The more he walked, the more the hallway felt repetitive. The same doors, the same stains, even the sound of his footsteps echoed from all directions. Suddenly, the hallway lights flickered. One by one, they began to go out. In the darkness, Andy heard something whispering.
Come home, Andy.
He turned around in panic. From afar, at the end of the hallway, a black shadow appeared. Its body was tall and disproportionate, its head tilted as if its bones were broken. The shadow didn't move, but with each flicker of light, it seemed to get closer.
Andy stepped back, his breath rugged. The shadow wasn't walking, wasn't taking steps, but somehow the distance was getting shorter, until finally he could hear the sound of heavy breathing behind his ear. Andy ran as fast as he could, his breath coming out of his chest. Finally, he saw a door with a red exit sign. Without thinking, he pushed open the door. But what he found wasn't an exit, but a large room. Dozens of old elevators stood in a row, their doors open. All of them were empty, just pitch black inside. On the wall of the room, in large red paint, was written, "Once inside, there's no turning back." Andy froze. The black shadow from the hallway now entered the room, slowly approaching. He had to choose. Andy trembled. Her tears almost fell. He knew there was no way out, except choosing one of the elevators. Hastily, he stepped toward the nearest door. The door closed behind him. The elevator shook. It moved upward. She stared into the blurry mirror inside. Her face was pale, her eyes filled with fear. But slowly, in the mirror, another image appeared. A black shadow standing right behind her grinned broadly with sharp teeth. A whisper could be heard.
Welcome to the floor that never existed.
The next morning, the campus security guard found the old elevator open. Empty. There was no trace of Andy. However, something sent shivers down his spine. On the elevator panel, a new, black button had now appeared. And in the elevator mirror, though empty, there was the reflection of a figure standing, staring straight at him. Since that night, students on campus whispered that if you rode that old elevator alone after 11 p.m., you might end up on a floor with no number, and once you entered, there was no turning back.